It's been an exceptionally cold winter on Verglasia, but that hasn't stopped teams from preparing for the penultimate race in the cosmos. This year, 18 racers have answered the call and prepared the biggest, baddest, loudest, toughest race rigs their worlds have in order to prove their world deserves to lift the coveted chalice of Verglasia. The field may be small this year, but the entries are anything but. These are some of the biggest vehicles we've ever raced, and with some of the largest personalities you ever meet. From rookies looking to make their mark, to veterans who are not afraid to gamble everything for glory. Welcome to the Freezie 500 Fantasy Trucks Edition. In this edition, teams needed to build a race rig of the fantasy truck variety. Each team will randomly be drawn into a group of 3, where each heat will consist of 3 runs down the course. Teams will earn a point for every checkpoint they cross, and the first racer down to the finish will earn an extra point for a race max of 11 points. Round 1 will decide 2 things: seeding for round 2, and who will face the spikes. Points will accumulate through subsequent rounds, making every point critical. The team who accumulates the most points overall will not only claim victory, but also will have the honor and duty to make the ultimate sacrifice to the racing gods. You all know the rules. Now let's meet the first racers for this year's Freezie 500. One of the biggest names in the galaxy returns for a 3rd time to the Freezie 500. James Ironbeard has been a fearsome competitor here on Verglasia, and he even drank from the fabled chalice last year. Yet, he chose to return. This time, the Regnum 1 driver arrives in the Apocalypse, the biggest rig this event has ever witnessed. After last year's performance, the Royal Kingdom of Vert elected to yet again have their royal bloodlines represented by the racer known as King Jester. With his breakout performance at the last Freezie 500, this sophomore racer is looking to build off of that momentum in his rig dubbed Panic Alarm. Just in Time barely missed being spiked last year, so close that only 3 points were all that stood in the way of life and death. Mind you, many believe death is an adrenaline rush, and boundaries are meant to be pushed. This year, the driver from Chrono Quantica comes armed with a hyper turbo. Has he learned his lessons, or will time catch up with him? This is Group 1. Let the Freezie 500 begin. And the first run shows why James Ironbeard is a champion. The Armageddon comes down and shows King Jester and Just in Time why he is that champion. His rig squashes both of them and pulls in for a big score of 11 points, while Just in Time and King Jester have to settle for 5 apiece. Make that back-to-back for our reigning champion. The gate drops, and once again James Ironbeard gets his Armageddon out front and is no looking back. He's first to the jump, while Just in Time and King Jester are close behind. But James Ironbeard makes no mistake at the jump, where King Jester kinda turtles as he can't stick it, where Just in Time is able to find a gear and get his rig across the line for a crucial 10 points. King Jester, on the other hand, is going to have to settle for another 5. This first group was all James Ironbeard. There's just no stopping the Armageddon. He gets his rig out in front of just in time at the jump, and there's no looking back. If there's any question as to why this guy was a former champion, well, your question just got answered. Group 1 was an absolute runaway for James Ironbeard and the Armageddon. However, Just in Time actually put down a fairly respectable score of 25. And even the 20 that King Jester put up is nothing to sneeze at. I don't think the Kingdom of Vert has anything to worry about with getting spiked. However, this is the Freezie and anything can happen. We're set for Group 2, so let's meet the drivers. There's been a strange glowing darkness in the ether as of late. A shadowy organization with breadth and reach far beyond anything Tecmorto ever had. Raging Ricky heads a small band of racers who believe in resisting this glow. However, the eye sees all, and resistance will always succumb. Will the Resistance Defender watch the Watchers? The most famous name in racing is back at the Freezie 500, one of just a handful of competitors who have raced in every single tournament here at Verglacia. Arlo has been surprisingly unlucky when it comes to this event. However, the veteran racer is ever the threat when he gets out on the course, and he's counting on his Dark Trooper not to miss the mark. Stray Dog is back for another shot at the Cup. The Keldar 4 driver was left wanting more after he came up short on expectations last year, but convinced his lonely pack tribe to allow himself redemption as he clearly has his sights set on doing his tribe proud. His Pterotractyl may just be the perfect weapon for this race. Group 2 of the Freezie 500 goes right now. And the Dark Trooper certainly did not miss in this opening race. The gate drops and he not only takes out Raging Ricky, but he also takes out Stray Dog, leaving them both in the top half of the course. Raging Ricky finds a hole in the fence and boom, he's up and done, whereas the Dark Trooper comes along and cruises over the line with all 6 wheels in the air to take the first 11 points of this Group 2 race. Looks like Raging Ricky and Stray Dog have some work to do if they want to stay off the spikes. And the Dark Trooper makes it 2 for 2 just like James Ironbeard did in Group 1. This time, however, Raging Ricky tries to keep pace, but it's the Dark Trooper who gets to the jump first, and Raging Ricky face plants doing an almost rubber toe, while the Dark Trooper cuts him off a little bit in order to ensure that he does not go any further. The Dark Trooper comes across for another 11 points, and whoa! Stray Dog comes out of nowhere, collects 9, and Raging Ricky's got to settle for 6. And this might be the last gasp for Stray Dog, as when the gate drops, he immediately attacks the side of the Dark Trooper. The Dark Trooper is a big, heavy vehicle, and he comes along and smashes into the front of Raging Ricky. Stray Dog squirts out the back, but it's a battle between the Dark Trooper and the Resistance Defender, and they both end up spilling right after the jump. How will the Race 3 scores impact the overall Group 2 standings? We're just going to have to wait and find out. Group 2 was just about a runaway for the Dark Trooper of Arlo, but it was Stray Dog that made sure that he didn't get his head up in the clouds. Now, that score by Stray Dog, unfortunately, is not something that's going to put him in good standing. Raging Ricky just stays ahead of him, and Arlo pretty much guarantees himself a spot in the second round with that 27. However, Stray Dog now faces a very uncertain future. In years past, we've seen the story already written through groups 1 and 2. Will the story this year be much of the same with James Ironbeard as he dominates his first group with a masterful full pull score? And will the driver from Keldar 4, Stray Dog, end up in last place and get the spike? You've been watching the Freezie 500 from Verglasia. We'll see you again next time.
Oh, God. Oh, that was rude. Ugh. Indy, I will so get you back for this.